Howdy folks, I'm Pleasant Pecan Pie, proudly producing palatable pieces.
I'm Amber.
And here are more palatable pieces for us to eat, but it turns out that they weren't palatable or pieces, they were part of a checkerboard. And the little checker pieces. My mistake. Too bad we made a checkerboard salad. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Using My Toddler to Unlock the Door? I'm a 26-year-old female and I have a 3-year-old son with my husband, a 28-year-old male. Our son is very smart and he loves locking and unlocking doors. We ended up having to take off all the locks on the doors in the house so that he doesn't lock himself in the bathroom or something like that. My husband is very, very protective of our son and is a bit of a nervous Nelly when it comes to him. Today I realized that I never put my house keys back on my keychain after switching them around, and my husband locked the doors after I left. There's a window low to the ground that's small enough for the baby to crawl in and unlock the door for me, which he did no problem. When my husband got home, our son ran to him and very excitedly told him that mommy had him climb through a window and unlock the door. My husband told me that that was really reckless and that he could have gotten hurt, or worse, could have been locked inside by himself, and who knows what else could have happened. I argued back that he's not an infant and he is capable of following instructions. Plus, he got to unlock the front door, which he loves doing, and we had no issues. It escalated into a bigger fight, and he told me that I was a reckless parent and that I was a jerk for not taking his concerns seriously. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, maybe I'm biased because as a small child, like I had to do this myself one time when my brother decided to lock the cat in my parents' bedroom to give her a timeout. And no one could get in. So there was like this little tiny window, and would fit into it. So like I was boosted up and put through the window, and like I just feel like it's kind of like a life experience for small children sometimes.
Yeah, I have a hard time faulting OP. I think the husband is right to some degree, though. Like, the toddler could have gotten themselves into trouble, but generally a house is baby proofed, right? I mean, if you have a toddler, you're going to have your house toddler proofed. So it's not like there were going to be electrical cords or other things that the child was going to be able to get a hold of. And I do understand the that OP's concern here, and OP's husband's concern with the kid getting into trouble, because once the kid was on their own, they could have just hung out inside the house and tease the mother with the keys or something like that, like what I did when I was a child.
Yeah, not everyone is you.
My mom, when I was a child, speaking of locking parents out of houses, I rushed ahead of my mom. I grabbed my mom's keys, I rushed ahead of her, and then I closed and locked the door and dangled them in front of her, right? And this was when I was about the age of this child in this story here, 2 or 3. And my mom was not happy about that, and eventually I unlocked the door for her, but it took a lot of coaxing. With that in mind, though, like, kids can do things and get themselves into trouble. I mean, they're fast. They're going to be able to, maybe move quicker than an adult can at some points in time. And they can be mischievous too, right?
I mean, I guess it depends on how well you know your kid. Like, if his favorite thing to do is lock and unlock doors, then being like, kid, I've got a top secret message for you. Mommy needs you to unlock the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and your kid's going to do it, it might be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
If you have a child version of Brian, don't trust him with anything. Don't trust him with a pillow.
Wow, that sounds a little ominous.
I was trying to get something like soft.
Well, but it makes it sound like I'm going to smother someone. I thought that's where you were going with that. I'm like, that's kind of rude. I'm not going to suffocate my parents to death.
I just meant you could turn anything into something devious.
Yeah, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Electronic Pizza 272 says, I had to do this before when my aunt locked herself out. I just happened to be a small child, and my mom and I lived right around the corner. It was a really fun core memory for me. I feel like adults gave me an important mission. I don't think that you're in the wrong here, but that's just my personal opinion, not the jerk.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel like, because I had a similar experience. And for me, it was like, I get to do the thing no one else can do. I'm saving the day.
Yeah. And Horse Funeral Priest says it was an important mission. Save Auntie the time and money a locksmith would have cost her. And B. Woo says, not the jerk, your husband is freaking out. So you use the kid to gain access to your own home. Sounds like teamwork to me. I can't imagine waiting outside the house for someone to get home while having a solid plan to gain access, and then not using said plan. I would feel pretty dumb. I remember my dad doing this with me, except the only window open was the second floor of the house. I was maybe 5. My dad held the ladder and I climbed up to the second floor. I crawled into the window and then I unlocked the first floor door. Ignore the haters who claim that this is child endangerment. Here, I'll even downvote my own comment and give you guys a head start. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for signing up for a marathon last minute when my friend wants running to be her thing? I'm a 38-year-old and I recently signed up for a marathon a week before the race after finding out that I would need a rotator cuff surgery. I haven't been able to climb, which is my first love, but I have always enjoyed running casually. I've done a few races before, one marathon without training, so I felt like that I could probably do it again, and it's something that keeps me motivated and gives me a sense of accomplishment, especially as I'm preparing for an upcoming surgery. My friend was planning to run the marathon, but hadn't trained until the week of. I figured that we could both run really slowly together. The whole week I was trying to find a bib, and I told her that I was planning to sign up too, and she was fine until I told her that I finally found a bib, and she got really upset. I had posted on Facebook saying that I was going to run it last minute, and she freaked out. She told me that running this marathon was her thing and feels like I'm trying to take over something that's special to her. She said that me posting about it on Facebook would overshadow her post. I never saw it that way. I just thought that we could even support each other during the run. She accused me of being a terrible friend and just said some really terrible things to me. At the run itself, I lost her in the first mile. I texted her like 5 times and I called her 3. She ignored them all. She called me 2 hours later that she's 3 miles behind me and tells me to stop and wait for her. At this point, I decided to run the marathon for myself and I would see her at the end, so I said no, which she insists is a sign that I'm selfish and unsupportive. She was so mad that I was ahead of her that she quit at mile 16 and cut the course to the finish with a better time than me. Which, I mean, is fine. I finished in 6 hours and 15 minutes, which I was proud of in the end. She insisted that running is her thing and says that I'm not allowed to engage in it, which feels literally ridiculous to me. She was originally going to help me with post-surgery stuff, but now she has decided not to, saying that she feels betrayed by me doing a marathon. I don't feel like running a race should be something that belongs to any one person, especially since it's something that I love too. But maybe I missed something in how I approached it. Am I the jerk for signing up for a marathon, even though my friend feels like I'm stepping on her turf? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, the marathons are one of those things where you can't just cut out everyone else so it can be your, like, I mean, I guess if she wants a solo marathon, she can design her own course or run it a different day than everyone else. But they're kind of meant to be an activity done by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now, I can't understand, like, if OP was like rubbing it in her face or being all competitive, like, I'm going to get better time than you and I haven't even trained type of things. I could see why that would be hurtful. But assuming that OP was nice about it and was just like, hey, I'm running a marathon, and then like, isn't it cool? We can run together.
Yeah.
You know, that seems perfectly reasonable.
I wonder why this friend is having these feelings, and I think that these should have been addressed before the marathon. I think that OP could have saved themselves a lot of trouble and heartache to kind of ask why they were feeling this way. Been like, hey, you know, I really was looking forward to running this marathon. I was inspired by you running this marathon and wanted to join you in it. I get the kind of feeling that you don't want me to run this marathon. Why is that? And I think that that could have opened up a dialogue for them to kind of discuss what she was feeling about it.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, it would be that OP is one of those people who's good at a lot of different athletic areas. So maybe she didn't want to feel shown up by them. Like, for example, you are a much stronger runner than I am. I couldn't run to save my life. And so, like, I wouldn't want to run a race with you.
Well, if I were to run with you, though, I would pace myself to you.
Right, like running together, but
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't want to compete against you.
No, no, no. And I mean, I think that OP made it very clear that they were willing to run at their friend's pace, that they weren't going to go ahead of them. And at some point in time, they, slowed down and OP passed them. I don't know exactly how they missed them on the trail or whatnot, but it feels like they got very frustrated. It sounds like they got maybe it would be impossible to understand their motivations here on why they got so flustered and upset that OP was running this. You oftentimes, as friends, do activities together, and that usually is a way to strengthen a friendship. So for a friend to feel overshadowed by an activity that you're doing together seems a little odd to me. And so I think that it might be a good idea for her to go into therapy and kind of work on some of these feelings, because it almost feels like she has feelings of inadequacy around OP.
It does seem like that. And that's why I'm wondering if OP is just like really talented in athletic arenas. And this was like the one area she felt like she could be strong at, but she knew if OP competed, like, because it sounds like she's been training for this for a while, whereas OP was just like, I'm going to do this without training. It's fine.
Well, I mean, it sounds like she waited until the last
did
minute.
she?
Yeah,
Maybe
she
I
started
forgot.
training the week of, it sounded
Oh,
like.
I thought it was, never mind.
But yeah, I don't think that this was, I think that she just has feelings of inadequacy, and she's, insecure around OP, and probably for the reasons that you mentioned here, if we have to speculate wildly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Dresses212 says, did you run New York City today? Congratulations. I hope I cheered for you while I was out there. As to this whole thing, obviously not the jerk. No one owns a sport, and she's being absurd. She can get over it. Is she whining on Facebook to the other people running the marathon too because it's her thing? This is ridiculous. And OP replies, no, it was Chicago a couple weeks ago. And Word Shortener Bot says, Chicago is awesome. How did it go for you? Any fun stories from the race? And OP replies, it was great. I think my favorite part was the guy handing out pickles around mile 20.
Is that like an electrolyte thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think pickles and pickle juice can help with electrolytes. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to cancel a 2-year planned trip to attend my brother's last-minute wedding? I'm a 36-year-old male, and I've been planning a big trip with my 2 best friends over 2 years. The trip was set for January and is a 3-week adventure in another country, where we'll be celebrating New Year's together. I've been looking forward to this trip for ages, and I talk about it often since it's a huge deal to me. My friends and I all have worked hard to get the time off, save up, and planned everything out. And honestly, this is a bucket list kind of experience for us. Now on to the issue. My brother, a 32-year-old male, and his girlfriend, who have been dating for about a year and a half, recently announced that they're getting married. They planned it all pretty fast and are having an intimate wedding with just close family and friends. They sent out invitations only 2 months in advance for a wedding that's in early January, right in the middle of my trip. To make things more complicated, my brother asked me to be his best man and to give a speech. I was genuinely happy for him, but I politely reminded him that I wouldn't be able to attend because of this long planned trip. He knows all about it since I've been talking about it a lot with a lot of excitement. He keeps insisting, though, saying that he needs me there and that being his best man is more important than a friend's trip. I understand that a wedding is a big deal, and I do feel bad that I won't be able to be there. But the timing is really tough. Canceling this trip would let down my 2 best friends who aren't invited to the wedding, as they aren't friends with my brother, and would mean losing a ton of money. My family is split on this. Some think that my brother should understand, while others think that I'm being selfish for not adjusting my plans for his big day. Am I the jerk for sticking with my trip and not agreeing to be his best man? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. Your trip was planned first. It was very clear on when it was happening. He's the jerk for trying to scheduling his wedding right in the middle of it and expecting you to drop everything.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the financial repercussions to you. He doesn't care that this is something that you value and have been looking forward to for a very long time. He's only thinking about himself and what's best for himself.
Yeah. I mean, I think that really nails it there. This is, he knew about this ahead of time. There's no denying that he knew about this. So for some reason, knowing that OP was having a vacation during this time, he decided to plan a wedding in the middle of that. Something tells me that he's a little jealous about the trip and is using this as a way to kind of force OP to go to his wedding instead, or miss out on this trip instead. Some people are, and maybe I have a worst case look on this, but I don't know how to judge the situation otherwise.
I mean, the only other alternative is that he is just so unplugged into Opie's life that it slipped his mind that Opie had the trip, and but that's not a great version either.
No. And a wedding on such short notice should be something that you call up people who are important to you to plan ahead and say, oh, hey, I'm thinking about doing a wedding in a couple of months. Are you going to have time free in this amount of time, right? Because it's such short notice.
Right. Generally, you want to give at least 6 months notice so people can rearrange their schedules. Only 2 months, like there's a good chance a lot of people aren't going to be able to make the arrangements.
Yeah. So I feel like the brother is really in the wrong here, and they're asking a very unreasonable thing of OP.
Now, if OP wanted to offer a compromise, they could always offer to do like a best man speech over Zoom or something like that, so they could still go on the trip, and then as long as it doesn't conflict with other plans, maybe tune into the ceremony too and do a little speech, but it's not fair for the brother to expect OP to be there in person.
Exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Calm in the Dark says, does your brother often throw relationship tests your way? Does he pull these tests on other family members as well? And OP replies, no, I think this is more from his fiance. He would improvise on some stuff, but a wedding is not his style. And Krabby15443 says, is it possible that she planned it this way so that you couldn't attend? And OP replies, no, she and I get along well. We are not the best in-laws, but the relationship is on good terms. Someone pointed out that maybe she's pregnant and wanted to marry before the baby pops out. I mean, that could be the case. I mean, that's actually a better theory than maybe them sabotaging this on purpose.
Right. But it still doesn't give them the right to dictate everyone else's schedule. And at that point, I feel like they should be upfront about why they need to have the wedding when they do.
And Financial Bear 5071 says, not the jerk. When booking our wedding, the first thing that we did was check the date, then made sure that it worked with the guests that were non-negotiable for us. You have a long-standing commitment to your friends, and to back out means not only would you lose money, but so would they. Tell your brother that you would love to be there for him, but he was aware of your prior commitments, and they are set. If he needs you there so badly, it's his choice to move up his wedding, or he can just accept that he messed up. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber has a joke.
Why do you think the teacher's eyes were crossed?
The teacher's eyes were crossed because she thought that they were T's and not I's.
She couldn't control her pupils.
Oh, that makes sense too. I thought they were kind of going for like the dot your I's, cross your T's type of thing. And so I was like, maybe we're crossing I's and dotting T's. Who knows? And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful, wacky Wednesday, folks. Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, have it on keys and locking and toddlers.
If you're going to send your child into your house to unlock a door, make sure you know them well.
I think that is good advice. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.